Welcome back to the grim darkness of the 41st millennium. I'm Inquisitor Temperance Pryce, keeper of the Inquisition's Black Library, and this is the second volume in a report on the Valentyne Heresy, an actual play podcast set in the Genesys Adaptation of Warhammer 40k's Dark Heresy RPG. This report features Game Master Ryan LaPlante and players Tom McGee as Interrogator Nero Abagnale, Laura Elizabeth as Piper Fairley, Tyler Hewitt as Seth Corbyn, and Borovic as Sister Olianne Mina. My report shows that after Warden and Jacinta narrowly escaped the Skullshield attack and retaliation, the Inquisitorial band was immediately forced to fight as fire rained down on Rancid and the House leaders. Who orchestrated such a coordinated and brazen assassination attempt? And more immediately, will Piper's disguise fool Bane's representative long enough to win the heist? Find out next in this episode of the Valentyne Heresy.
From a recorded conversation with Fabius Bile. Yes, I know our allies are dead. You seem surprised by my lack of concern. Allies are only useful as long as they serve my plan, and their loss is only to be mourned if it harms my work. Vengeance is for fools. I never care who did the killing, only that it was done. That is a luxury that Fabius Bile has with Fabius Bile's plans in Fabius Bile's life. It is not necessarily the luxury of this Inquisitorial band, because when people get killed, it matters, because sometimes it's you. And right now, Piper, you are inside a terrifying flesh golem body. And Vulcan Zigamer, the first officer of the Tiers of the Emperor, the second highest ranking figure in the System Defense Fleet, has just been welcomed through the door. And what none of you expected is the servo skull over his shoulder flew in with him.
No, it's fine.
Piper, what actions are you taking to try to not look like a giant fleshy bag of muscles?
I could have planned this. I mean, I'm gonna use some psyker shit here. Because
good. That would be advisable.
Because I need to I need to not be me. I need to be Rancid right now.
Seth and Mina, I imagine you are both coming in the door behind to kind of supervise how this meeting goes.
Oh, yeah. Seth is prepared to basically kind of explain away or just lie through his teeth as much as he needs to kind of both expedite this to get him back out of there and to limit suspicion as best he can. So this is definitely something that he wants, a situation that he wants to have control of. So he would be in the room.
Yep. So Seth, you'll have closed the door and kept the party out. Sorry, Olianne.
Yep. Mina she got up from helping and prepare the situation, but she will be standing like right beside and behind Piper, like as a guard, being a guard, like very, and also is like on alert for if anything happens, she's going to protect Piper.
Can both of you roll me a cool at difficulty 2?
That's easy. It's not good, but it's easy. It's an easy dice pool. Okay. 2 advantages, 1 failure.
Okay.
I got 2 successes.
Seth, you are so caught up in worrying about whether or not Vulcan will be seeing Rancid that you don't notice the servo skull coming in over his shoulder. Mina, because you're looking at this coming towards you, you do spot the servo skull and realize this could be a problem. Because you've had, 2 successes?
Yes.
You are aware that this is no longer broadcasting downstairs, but there is a chance that this recording could be found by someone if the servo skull gets out of the room.
Okay, perfect.
So your kind of assigned task to yourself is figure out what to do with the servo skull that won't freak out Vulcan.
Yes.
However, Piper has had time to prepare, knowing that Piper would have to impersonate this governor.
Yes. So I am going to use my telepathic abilities to attempt to compel Vulcan to believe that this distorted bag of flesh in front of him is the governor.
All right. What do you need to roll for that mechanically?
So it's going to be a telepathy check. And so just so you know, so the base difficulty of this is easy, and I'm adding 2 because it's compel, and I'm adding 2 difficulty for compulsion.
And both of those difficulty will actually go away because you are in a flesh body. We talked about this previously. That exactly matches the proportion of Rancid. So you will stay at the traditional easy difficulty.
Okay.
Because of the advantage of the surgery. It's clearly been a hassle in 1,000 other ways, but this is the one way it's helping you.
Okay. Yeah, so basically what this does, compulsion, I can compel someone to believe that something is untrue in narrative encounters for 5 minutes.
Great. I will say also add a setback to this roll because you have an injury on you but no blood because you were bandaged, but there's no sign of bleeding. And I will use a story point to upgrade one of those difficulty die.
So that's going to be adding then, because one's already upgraded because it's a psyker power. So then I'll just
add a purple.
Add a purple? Okay.
Yep. You do have one story point yourself if you wanted to use it.
I'm good.
All righty.
Good to roll?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Wow. 1 advantage.
But it's not a failure.
It's not a failure.
Which is interesting. Vulcan comes into the room. The door closes behind him. And Seth, Piper, and Mina, you all see him stop confused. And he's looking at Piper, and he just says, "Who is the blank-faced person? Is this a new kind of haze field?"
Yes. I think that's part of the distraction from kind of being in his own head about it, is just kind of like he just kind of snaps back. It's like, doesn't understand the question. Or would I know what a haze field is? Because I do not know what a haze field is.
I don't know if you would. You'd probably be able to put together that it's some, because he has a refractor field, as you'd seen earlier when he left. You can see the circuitry of it hanging on a necklace around his neck. So refractor fields kind of reflect energy or light. You would guess, based on this is all the advantage that was rolled here, but you would guess that he's wondering if this is some kind of blur field or some kind of distortion field to protect the governor.
Mina will speak up and say, "We of course have extra protections in place, considering what happened downstairs."
All right, Seth, can you roll me a deception?
Yes.
The difficulty will be 1 red and 2 purple. Because you are going up against Vulcan Ziggler's thing. I will give you a boost because Mina, in a freak accident of fate, perhaps the Emperor is looking, backed you up smoothly.
Yeah.
Can I augment this?
Yeah, what do you got?
So I can try to basically cast inspirational images into the mind of an ally to allow them to add an ability die. So mine would be like, it would basically be trying to give Seth confidence to sell the lie.
I would say, even that, why don't we pitch, because I like the confidence, but let's go even deeper into this. Let's have the idea be that Seth, she's actually channeling your subconscious to give you the details in ways you would instinctively be able to fly. So it's just like lying on steroids. It's the equivalent of taking Adderall. You just, everything you want to lie about is on the tip of your tongue, which is a lot of fun. So add an ability die, which is a green.
Okay.
I'm still going to have to roll for it.
Yep. Let's roll for that so we know if that's coming through or not, because that'll affect this.
I'll not add it just yet until we figure out for sure.
That's only for structured encounters.
Just
so I can just do it anyways. Okay, because I can say I can also just take 2 strain.
Your pitch was good.
Okay. Okay. What do you want my difficulty to be? It's base easy.
I would just play it easy. He's in the room. He's already thinking along these lines, and he's definitely desperate for help. So I think psychologically he's as open as he could be.
Okay. 3 successes, 1 advantage. So
bam, you get that help, buddy. I will say you suffer 1 setback to your roll. Actually 2. I think 2 setbacks realistically, because you are a part of another heist team, and now it's give the crown to a governor you can't see.
Yeah. Okay. And you know what? I would like to use a story point then.
Okay.
We're just ahead with like positive dice versus negative dice, but I've been burned before. And so
Yeah,
I would like to do that. Just with the addition of those setback dice, I don't like the look of them. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I was fucking confident to roll a go and got 1 advantage. So
yeah, exactly.
I don't need a story point.
I have been there before. Okay, so I'm ready to roll with this new pool.
Let's see what happens.
I fucking hate this game. 8. Count them. 8 advantages. 3 failures.
Ooh. The fuck?
I can't with this game.
What?
In the grim darkness of the future, there are only advantages.
Here's how the advantage is going to play out. You can see Vulcan Ziggler take in your words, mistrust your lie, but he's so straight up that you can tell he's about to draw his weapons. I'm going to cash in all of your advantage, but you will all have a chance to act before he does. This is, for lack of a better term, this is the Mexican standoff about to go for the guns, but Seth talking and Vulcan pausing for a moment gives you guys the lead. So, Seth, I'm going to let you go first because you're the closest.
Okay. Seth, in a last Hail Mary gambit, I think is going to kind of very clearly telegraph that he's going to run at Vulcan, so that Vulcan sees like he's trying to run, and Seth is going to say, "Stop him before he puts the crown in the governor's hands." To hopefully play up the ruse that if he puts it in his hands, it's over for us, the other heist team.
Okay. Mina. Or do you know what? Roll a deception for me, Seth.
Okay.
This is pretty clever. Difficulty will be 1 yellow, 2 green. Or sorry, 1 red, 2 purple. It's because I take his skills and reverse them to be your difficulty.
Yep.
A setback because you're playing an intellectual game with a man drawing weapons, but possible.
Okay.
Yeah, let's see what happens.
Do we have story points?
You have 1.
I'm gonna go for it and hope that we can just end this in as non-violent a way as possible.
I'm gonna use 1 as well.
Okay, so 2 reds, 1 purple.
Yep.
Okay. I hope it's enough. 3 successes.
3 successes. Mina and Piper, you see Vulcan turn towards you instead of Seth. Mina, what do you do?
Mina's going to get in front, in between Vulcan and Piper, and put her arms out like she's going to try to block and intercept him, but is not drawing a weapon, is not going to attack him, but is just bodily putting herself in between and will try to grab him if he goes around.
Piper, you have a split second to react yourself before Vulcan makes his move.
Oh. I would like to try to curse, to just put a curse on him, which will basically, so mechanically, it'll remove an ability die from him.
Okay.
And I think narratively, I would say kind of the curse I put upon him is to question his own instinct.
Okay. Yeah, let's see if this will work. I'm into this.
Okay, so it's the base difficulty is average.
Okay.
if you're good with that.
Yeah, I think I am. He doesn't have any psychic defenses on the scale of things. This is a tense situation, but it would be easy to make the wrong step here. So
Okay.
do you know what? No, I will add one difficulty because he is incredibly logically minded, and if he commits to a path, he's the kind of character who would go for it. So it's more a personality thing than not.
Okay.
I will use a story point to increase one of those die difficulty as well.
Okay. I'm going to do the same.
Okay.
I'm also going to use what's known as corpus conversion, which I can take 2 wounds to basically draw from like deeper within the warp.
Okay.
To increase success. So I automatically add 1 success.
Nice.
Oh, I'm going to do it. Oh, fuck, I'm scared.
We'll give this to you for free. The warp wound actually appears where the bandages are. So
I was going to ask, that is...
I think Piper is crafty enough to be able to do that.
Nice. Okay, rolling. Oh! 1 success, 3 advantages, 1 triumph.
Oh.
Yes.
So, I mean, mechanically, he's just removing an ability die from him, but...
Yeah. What? Fuck mechanics. He is racing forwards, about to swing his power sword down and through Mina. He was not going to stop just because someone seemed gracious. Until Piper, you can finally feel your compulsion click inside his mind. And you now know if you speak or he sees you, he hears and sees the governor. What do you do?
I think I grumble like in my most like strained, like old, like injured man. Just like a stand down, Vulcan.
He freezes in place. The sword is an inch from Sister Mina's neck, and he pauses, and then he rotates the blade in his hand in a swirl and just sheaths it in an incredibly practiced motion, lightning fast, that for anyone else would take fingers off with a power blade. And he falls down to one knee, and he just says, "My apologies, Sir Governor. I believe this was a ruse."
And you see my hand, like, because I'm basically paralyzed, right?
Yes.
So I think like my hand just kind of jerks as much as it can, and I just say, what's it called? Oh, what's it called? The thing that he has, the heist. Crown. Oh, the crown. It's like, and just say, crown here.
Sister, if you'll excuse me, says Vulcan, looking up at you because you are still between him and, quote unquote, the governor.
She will put her arms down and take a step to the side, like she was not quaking or anything. She was ready to get nailed down by that guy. So she just takes a step aside. She's like, of course.
And Vulcan reaches down and takes up the simple gold crown that is the key to this heist and was the first crown used in the history of the Artis system. And he hands it over. He holds it out, realizes your hand can't quite move, and settles for setting it in your lap, Sir Governor.
Right.
And then he just holds position.
Seth full on does like a 180 of like, and like cups his head, just like, damn! Stand down, Mina. The heist is over. House Lucian has won. Or House Bane has won. Damn, we were close.
I took no pride in this, he says, rising stoically and very imperiously. He looks like a recruitment poster for the Navy. This was a favor that was called upon. It was not a choice. It was a duty.
Well,
we have the utmost respect for you and understand. Well played, sir.
Yes, very well played.
Goodbye. And he'll just turn and begin walking out of the place.
Mina is going to grab for that skull, like if she can't. Just like, yeah, we need it.
All right, let's do an athletics.
Oh gosh! All right.
Athletics to grab it. I'm going to say difficulty 3. Not that it's hard to grab, but it would have instinctively followed him. So you're grabbing it like the snitch as it tries to fly away from you. So we need to know if you can grab that.
Okay. Are there any story points?
There are. You have one.
All right, I will take one.
Alrighty.
Okay. Thankfully, Athletics is brawn. Here we go. Did you want to add anything else?
No, I think
it's
this is
three difficulty.
Yeah, 3 difficulty is where that's where I've added my stuff. So that's good for me because it's not really a question. It's not dodging. It's just do you get a big enough jump?
Yep.
Catch the moving thing.
Okay, so here we go. 2 successes, 4 advantages.
You catch it, and the advantages means he does not notice. Vulcan just walks out the door, closes it behind himself, and you are clear. So you have successfully claimed the governor's crown. And not even 2 heartbeats later, Chastener Bo-Katan and Nero both enter the room knowing where it is. And the party have achieved their goal of claiming the crown, but now it's time to figure out what's coming next. Bo-Katan, Nero, when you were brought up, Bo-Katan had another wave of enforcers arrive. So downstairs, things are locked down in a safe way. There's no chance of anyone overpowering the Arbites, and they're never going to break the rules of the Inquisition. Everything you've seen of Bo-Katan, like there's been no corruption. He's been stoic and by the law the whole way. You knew when you came to the system, there's not like a history of corruption in that organization. That's why they're not that powerful, but this is literally what they were made for. So Bo-Katan he steps to the center of the group of you, looks Piper up and down, but doesn't know it's Piper, just sees like a gross fleshy person, and he goes, well, I guess the fucking body double qualities going around here, not very good, but here's the deal. I got everything locked down. We can only do that for a little while, so you all got to figure out who's trying to kill the governor. I guess we'll park this, he says to Piper, I don't know, here in case. Maybe we could put it in his bedroom, but I need you to interview whoever you need. I got everything laid out. You're going to be able to do it. Here's a slate. It'll tell you where everybody is, but you don't got much time. So figure out what the fuck's going on and shut it down. I'll be here if you need anything, but I got to go watch my boys. And he will exit. So you now have a chance to review what you see on the slate that I imagine all of you would share this information. There are a number of figures that are important in this case. The prisoners are in interrogation cells. They're 1 floor down from here. There is also a freezer for the governor's kitchen, which is currently being used as an impromptu morgue where the dead people are. And in the storage room next to it are where the weapons that have been taken from the assassins are being kept. Currently up here, Rancid is in the surgical suite. There are a number of other medical suites attached where you can find the other injured house leaders, which is Krungus Marcus and Lucia Bane. And Gazi are all receiving medical treatment in those rooms. They've already been deemed stable. So they're out of it. You're not surprised with the amount of physical augmentation that they have that they would be kind of patch them up and they're good to go. And that is the situation. So mechanically, what I will say to you for the interrogations of this is the enforcers are here. They're policing people back and forth. You could have any of the house leaders who are up on this level brought down to interrogation rooms. There's enough to keep everybody separately. Right now, Roberto Vance is in an interrogation room on Seth's order, who sent him up because he's the only house leader who was not injured, which is a weird question mark unto itself. You will get 3 rounds to your interrogations to try to solve this mystery. You can all go to the same place or different places. You can interrogate whoever you should so please. The idea is each of you gets 1 action, but I'm also happy to have that be you go around and do those things together. This isn't a world of like, oh, Mina has to go do an interrogation. And what we will say is Ignatius Ironforth has come up to help with the weapons. So if anyone wants to go look at the weapon storage, there'll be an expert there who can help walk them through that. And Invictus is in with the bodies, and he has access to the Inquisitorial files on those. So if you want to look at the dead rather than trying to chat with the living, that's also an option. The question for all of you now is, in this, we could say, preliminary round of interrogations and fact-finding about what has happened this night, what do you want to do? And what do you want to do with the crown you've now collected?
Yeah. Seth will pick up and pocket the crown into his long coat, so it's hidden from view.
Mina would come over to Seth with the servo skull and say, do you want the information in this, or should I crush it?
Crush it.
Smash.
Yeah, I'll give you that one for free.
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah. Well, this evening has been much more eventful than I was anticipating. I understand that the dead are being kept in the kitchen in the freezer. There's a morgue being developed there, and I would like to investigate the bodies of the assailants.
I mean, that seems like a reasonable kind of course of action to me there, Seth. I do want to make sure, though, that we're not losing sight of what we're actually here to do. You know, these regional politics, they're impressive, they're flashy. I understand, you know, we're making friends, we're wheeling, we're dealing, but if we can't find the Homo Novus, then we and pretty well everyone else, as I understand it, is fucked.
Yes.
So, sure, let's go look at some bodies. But we got to make sure we got all of our blood samples down. Ryan, if I'm not mistaken, Vance is the last remaining blood
Correct.
we don't have. So I'm going to just throw out to the group. Nero will just be like, again, I appreciate there's some other things at work here, and we're outnumbered, we're outgunned, and if we don't solve this, we are in a different kind of shit. But I need Vance's blood. I got Krungus. He's pretty mad about it, but I think that's fine. Honestly, most people are pretty mad at me most of the time. You get used to it. You know, just sometimes always feels like there's an eye on you, you know, like just an eye just on you all the time. You know what I mean? It's like a large eye that follows you, but you get used to it, right? And I'm used to it. I'm fine. So do I go in and get his blood, or do one of you want to do it? Mina, you want to see if you can punch him? Seth, do you want to see if you can do something? I mean, I can go in there and interrogate him.
Piper just growls.
Seth,
Should we sew that up? I think it's leaking.
Seth, can you roll me a Streetwise at difficulty 2?
Where's my cursor gone? There we go. Streetwise. Difficulty 2. Get those fucking red dice out of here. There we go. 3 successes, 1 threat.
You realize an interesting fact in how you can move forward here, which is you have 2 advantages with Piper that you normally don't have. 1, in the case of a governor risking assassination, bringing in a psyker for interrogation would be expected, which means even if a cult was watching here, Piper can kind of use her powers in an unfettered way where they'll just go, that's an Imperial psyker. So she's off the hook in terms of what you need to do here. And because you got the additional ones, Piper could continue to use her disguise, because if someone was trying to kill Rancid and Rancid can show up and speak fluently, that could be terrifying. There is an advantage in that. The threat is that could also fail, or if you walk, Rancid into a room where no one tried to kill Rancid, it won't have any effect. But there are those 2 things that you realize could contribute to the overall team's mission.
Yeah, and Seth will mention that to everyone and just say, we have in our midst a psyker disguised as Rancid, albeit poorly disguised as Rancid. That being said, we were able to convince the second highest officer in the Navy that this was the governor. This could be of use for shock value or to shake loose, let's say, our potential assailants. As well, there will be psyker activity in the area, as there was a direct threat on the governor and the gubernatorial hopefuls, and so it will be expected that psychers would be here for interrogation purposes, allowing you, Piper, to finally use your powers to your fullest ability without fear of reprisals. Now let me finish. From these cultists that you are so afraid of. Now, I understand Warden is not here to keep you in check should you succumb to the warp, but never you worry. I do believe that bomb in your head will suffice.
She's like, Piper is feeling really strained by this whole thing, and having had to use her powers so much just to convince Vulcan. So she is like, I mean, she can barely talk, but yeah. I think she will say, it's like, Sleep.
I'm not saying you
First.
must, Piper. I'm not saying you must. I'm saying you can. And even your presence can have an effect on those we are seeking to get information from.
To make things a little bit easier for the party, I will say, Piper, when you're in a room with people who you know and who you are as familiar with as otherwise, I would say you can use a soft version of Psy-Speak with this party specifically. So if you want to roleplay this conversation without having to be their
that's nice.
talk person, this is the situation where you can.
So I don't have to suffer strain?
No.
Okay, because I'm like, as someone who suffers 2 strain every time I use a psyker ability, it's getting like, getting pretty strained up in here.
Yeah, at this point, no, you do not suffer further strain for being in Rancid body. You paid that tax. You're just wheelchair bound now.
Okay, so I can have like a conversation kind of like in everyone's heads kind of thing?
Anytime you're talking to anyone in your party, you can speak normally.
Oh, that's fucking lovely. Okay, thank you. So Piper says, okay, so, yes, this seems like, yeah, that was like great and everything, but this is really shite, and this has got to stop now. That I got to get out of this body. I'm not gonna be able to like face anyone of like any type of strength if I don't like get the hell out of this and like start recovering, because like this has been like a real shite like 3 days. And I'm feeling stressed, and you don't want a stressed psyker going up against anybody. All right? So like, let's just like do what we got to do like really quickly here. And like, I need to just reverse all this and have a good long sleep.
Very well. You heard the psycho. We'll all do what we've got to do. And he'll look at her pointedly.
All right.
Get this over with.
Sister Mina, you haven't contributed yet. What are your thoughts? I think this is the point where the group would all look to you.
Oh, yeah. Why is everyone looking at me? Things went fine. I am here to back up whoever needs backup. If you'd like me to punch someone, Nero, if you'd like me to stand beside you, Seth, or if you'd like me to take Piper home, I don't, whatever needs doing. I'm just thankful we didn't have to kill that very nice man.
Wait, sorry, which nice man didn't we kill?
The naval officer you passed in the hallway.
Oh, hey. Oh, that's good news. Yeah, all right. That's good. Good work, everyone. Gold stars all around.
Certainly would not have liked that.
I agree that this is about finding Homo Novus, and I agree that we do need those blood samples, and I believe you are perfectly capable of both interrogating the survivors and getting those blood samples. What I want from the dead is information on perhaps if they are connected to Homo Novus in any way. If there is any evidence of, I was going to say alien, but that's not the term for 40K.
Xenos? There's Xenos, which is, alien technology.
If there's evidence of any connection to the Xenos, as they have been present on this world as well.
Yeah, that's a solid play there, Seth. Hey, grab some blood from the corpses you find down there too. I'm planning on running a bunch of samples when we get back to the Bolter Express. But you're absolutely right. I mean, granted, we're still chasing, I think, the idea of exactly what Fabius Bile is capable of. But based on everything we know, doesn't seem like a guy who's just going to put it all on one play. You know, the more I see down here, the more I'm starting to realize these guys, they think more like me, and that's not great. It's real, it's not great. If you're the paranoid guy and everyone around you thinks like you, it's bad. It's bad news. So I agree. We need Piper at her best. So let's get to this and see if we can get her out of the. Just like gesture broadly at like that as soon as we can, and then we can just burn that. We got to burn that in a barrel or something. I never want to see that fucking thing again.
Mina emphatically is nodding. It's like, this is semi-heretical. It needs to be burned.
A mangled governor's body could come in handy to flush out certain interests in this scenario, but
Yeah, all right. Well, Seth, in that case, why don't we store it in your room? Because as I recall, during the raid, it was the only one that wasn't hit by any violence because of the mattresses in front of the door. So maybe we can just store it in there because it's a pristine
Oh, look,
room.
here we are again, like wasting time, just like blaming each other about inconsequential things. Let's get going. Do what we got to do. Get me out of this thing.
Yeah, that's great, Piper. We'll do the plan that we just discussed. Well, you just helpfully said, get me out of this body, get me out of this body. I want a nap. Sound good?
You and I are going to have a talk one day so I can like understand what the hell you think when you say these things, because I don't get it.
Who's wasting time now? All right, let's get to it. And I will. I'm going to go to bed.
All right,
I'm just
pay
yelling
attention.
you.
I'm on my
Never
way.
mind.
In plan summation, we've got Nero is going to Vance. Seth, you are going to check out the bodies. Piper, if you want to do the most passive thing that can be done in terms of engagement, you can go and you can go to Ignatius Ironforth and find out about the weapons, because realistically, Ignatius Ironforth is just going to be delivering a bunch of exposition, so you don't have to like read anybody's mind.
Cool.
The character who has the most possibilities, who was not given specific instruction, the only thing she asked for was Sister Olianne Mina.
I just happened to be
Every other job has been assigned to someone. So, what do you wish to do, Sister Mina?
All right, it's like everyone went to do something, and now she's just standing, holding the bag as usual. So I guess what she's gonna do is just go to like the main floor where all the people are being held and see who's still alive. Like if she's just being left to her own devices, I guess she's just gonna go see who's around and see if the vicar's dead, see if who else got like, I don't know.
So you're going to check the manifest to see who's around. So in terms of people who are engaged up here with the crimes, you've got the heads of the various households. So of those who are injured and not in cages or currently being interrogated, Krungus, Lucia, Gazzy, and Rancid are all in various rooms.
Mm-hmm. Is Rancid stable as well? Sorry, I had Marcus, Bane, and Gazzy stable. Is Rancid stable also?
No one's given an update on his status in any of the feeds at this point, you just don't know.
Okay.
Downstairs, there are two of the shooters still alive. There's one in one interrogation room. His name has been revealed to be Palidi Marcus. And he is the shooter who had the shotgun who shot Gazzy. And then in the other interrogation room, there's a woman named Karn Bane, who is the shooter who shot Lucia Bane in the shoulder.
Oh, interesting.
Downstairs, you can see a casualty list come in for the 6 people who were blown up by Truncheon Cranius while firing a grenade launcher into the crowd to hit the shooter. Truncheon, and then honestly, none of them mattered. You look at them, and it's just like a rattling off of a couple of low-level names. Mikhail Modano, Aaron Irongate, Timirius Tremblor, Turin Magal, Jimmy Proton, and weirdly enough, someone who had their name legally changed to Bing Du. You can flip through their histories. They're nobodies. They're all low-level workers around the hive, but they aren't really driving anything that way. So
they each have a 9-book series in the Black Library, though. It got really out of hand for a while in the early 2000s.
Yep. Gotta love Bing Du's book. But no, so there's no one kind of socially you'd go spend time with. They're all under captivity anyway. So it's really just, is there anyone you want to either talk to or interrogate of the high-level survivors?
Well, I think that she's not going to be useful doing that. I think when she does that, maybe she will just try to back up Nero or like be like she's not going to interrogate, but maybe if she just stands, like it backs him up. That's what she's going to do after looking.
Great.
At that.
I think that makes sense. And we'll say because that makes it efficient, Nero can also you two as a tag team can also hit a second target as well. So you're going to Vance first. We'll go there first just because we're going to come back to another interrogation. It's a simple cell. It's a hallway of traditional cell doors with side doors next to them. So the cell doors themselves are steel and scary. The side doors next to each of the cells are high quality wood, which again would be very rare on a world that's being terraformed, but everything is spent in here. You can see some of them are open. Enforcers are occasionally walking in and out or using those kind of as break rooms. They are clearly behind the clear glass. If you wanted to observe an interrogation, you could do that in those environments pretty safely. Vance is pacing in the room at the very end of the hall. It's been marked on your slate to your left as you go down. If you glance through the glass, you can see it's just him pacing the room. His size, again, is doubly emphasized in this small interrogation room cell. It's clearly designed for the average citizen, whereas Vance is 1.5 feet taller, way broader. Think more Space Marine out of armor in size due to the way that he's been adjusted. At the same time, there's something a little bit absurdist and strange. He's still wearing a Speedo and the flowing, somehow tight, but also kind of see-through tuxedo outfits reveal that he has no weapons on him. How do you want to play this?
I'll turn to Sister Mina and say, this is one of those no real margin for error kind of situations. I think he's an awfully big guy, and though I feel like you could take him, I think it would be a pretty close fight. So it's more for me than you, but let's try and keep our heads in there, okay?
Yes, I have the utmost faith in you, sir. But if you'd like to give me a word, that if you say I can commence with violence, otherwise I will back you up.
Sister Mina, I trust you. But if I give the standard, we'll have to summarize it a little bit. We don't have time for the full thing, but you and I share an understanding, I think, about certain things. So when I mention Lupersal, you go, okay? I can't yell our full catchphrase that you and I love equally about it, but when I mention the Emperor's favorite son, we move. All right, let's go. And I will just fully Kramer my way in there, good cop style, and say, Lord Vance, hi, Nero Abagnale. It is a pleasure to finally make your acquaintance.
Roberto Vance is standing at the opposite side of the steel table that's bolted to the floor. Mm-hmm. There are 2 chairs on either side and a hanging lamp overhead with a servo skull on the top of it that is aiming its camera towards Roberto Vance, clearly designed with a laser feed to just track where he is. The slightly unsettling nature of this is that the lamp only catches from almost the nape of his neck down on Vance, standing at the opposite side of the table. The chairs are the other way around. He's like, I don't know what I'm doing in here, but I didn't do fucking anything. So it's nice to meet you too, but I'd like to leave because apparently there's assassins in this fucking building.
Yeah, Lord Vance, I understand that. Look, I have to walk around with protection because I'm not a big fellow like you. So trust me, I fully appreciate where you're coming from. And, truth be told, this whole thing's a tremendous embarrassment to the Inquisition, let alone, the gubernatorial race and everything else. So rest assured, I want to get you out of here as soon as I can too. You're a busy man. You've got a house to run. I understand that. But you got to understand, your compatriots, I won't say your equals because I respect you and I understand your station here. A lot of them got hurt today, and you didn't, sir. Now we can chalk that up to any number of things, and I get that.
So I didn't run this event. This was run by the governor. He's got his own guards. Everyone got shot on his watch, including him, and they're blaming me. It's not my fault. I have good professionals around me.
Hey, look again, and I'll just point at Mina again, being like, I agree. Good professionals around you, that's the most important thing in this world. People you can trust. I get that. That's why I'm going to try and get you out of here as fast as I can. But you need to understand, I got to ask these questions. This little piece of metal, and I'll pull out, just as you do, the rosette, and just hang it around my neck and say, it's actually, it's lighter than you'd think, but it comes with some weight, and as a result, I got to make sure things are level here, that things are on the level. You got to understand that you're a man of business, right?
I will participate with the Inquisition in every way I am legally required.
I appreciate that little caveat you put on the end there. That's a good one. I'll turn to me and I'm like, I don't know if we don't hear that one very often. I like that one. All right, well, I'll tell you what, Lord Vance, I'll make this real simple. You give us a sample of your blood so that we can cross-check it against any other evidence we collect. And I'll tell you what, I'd be happy to let you go right now.
I'm uninjured. Why do you need my blood?
As I told you, you're uninjured. Lots of other folks are. And you may have noticed, and I'll lean in a little conspiratorially, not too close because I know he could like squish my head like a melon, and just say the only other Inquisition presence on this planet here. I mean, you've seen that guy. I don't trust his records. I don't trust his methods. So I'm asking you to trust my methods. You know, I need to create a genetic database so that when we're cross-checking against other permutations, we're checking against the evidence collected. I just gotta, honestly, I need this to clear you. So as you said, you're happy to participate with the Inquisition for anything you're legally obliged to do. I'm telling you as the Inquisition, I need your blood.
And I would love to give it to you, Vance says, leaning down. You can see his black hair, his pale skin, his goggles that are nearing sunglasses. And he says, but I'm afraid I can't because my blood is involved in a next event in a gubernatorial race, which has been exempted from Inquisitorial investigation.
Oh, those are some strong words from an innocent man. There, Bob, can I call you Bob? Bob, listen, you may think this gubernatorial race matters, and I know that you prom-loving motherfuckers down here just really seem to get off on that, but I gotta tell you, you help the crusade, you really do. And you know, all the ships that are up there, they prove it. No one's above the Emperor, sir. So I tell you what, I will recuse myself from the next event if you give me your blood. I guarantee you it will not be used by my team. It will not be used by the Cologne House at all. But I am telling you as a representative of the big guy that I'm going to need that fucking blood.
All right, let's roll now. This is fun.
Baby.
All right, we've given you a special interrogation skill, so
Sure
we'll use
have.
that here. There's no
Thank
question
you.
that's what's being used. But you are up against a hefty fella. So you're attempting to influence him, which means you will suffer 1 strain automatically just for the attempt. Mina, I'm imagining, are your weapons out? What are you doing over Nero's shoulder as he's gesturing to you?
She's definitely she's doing like the bad cop thing and looming as much as she can and looking very serious business, like mad dogging eye, like, but I'm just not saying anything, just being very stoic and cranky.
Can you roll me a coercion against difficulty 3 red, 1 purple?
Okay. I mean, I can. It probably won't do anything. Just a straight, okay.
Yep, that's it.
All right. I'm sorry. I'm not going to waste a story point on this because there's no hope.
Bleak.
There's no
Also,
hope for this roll.
You don't have one.
Oh, great.
Oh, do you know what? I'll use one. I'll give one back to whoever's next, but
Okay,
I'm going to use
there you
one.
go.
So make that purple also a red.
So this is a 2 green, 4 red roll.
Yep, let's see what happens.
Okay. I got 1 failure, 3 threats, 1 despair. So whatever was supposed to go on, she did poorly at it.
Great. Nero, let's do your roll as well, because I'd like to know what happens there.
Great.
That doesn't mean necessarily that you fail. It just means that she has spectacularly
helped
failed
you.
to intimidate Roberto Vance.
Yeah, I got that. All right, so we're using
You've got your
using
interrogation.
interrogation. Yep. So
You are going up against 1 red, 3 purple is going to
Yep.
be the difficulty. I'm going to give you a boost for the Rosette and another boost for the fact that he is being held prisoner here, and you do have the Arbites backing, so there's no question that you've got the advantage in this environment.
I also admittedly, and I mean, maybe this is an additional boost, maybe it just folds into that one, but I also legitimately will set him free. Like, I'm not bluffing at all in this.
Yeah, put another boost on that. I think
Yeah.
I think that will read true.
Cool. All right, I'm going to spend that story point to jack this up a little bit.
I'll spend one as well because I think this is like a high stakes.
Yeah,
What's our
totally.
story point situation at now?
You have 1. I have 4.
Okay,
Now
thanks.
we have. Oh yes,
You-
now we have one.
so
Yes,
still,
because
'cause
he's-
it'll carry forward, yeah.
Counters out. In terms of my additional shit here, so yeah, clever retorts against his actions, not to boost mine, so that's fine. So that doesn't help.
What does it normally give you, Tom?
Clever retort, once per social encounter, I can use it to add 2 threat to an opponent's roll by saying something cruel, clever, or distracting.
All right, I will say add another 2 boost to your roll because I think your offering of sitting out the next game is actually pretty goddamn clever.
Great. Okay, I'll take that. Great. Okay. So for those of you keeping track at home or playing the home game along with us, if you've just decided to do that for the first time, because, I don't know, you're having a night, we've got 3 yellow, 2 purple, 2 red, 5 boost.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
So because I need a clever retort for this, I'll just smile genially and say, and remember, Bob, everyone bleeds for the Emperor one way or another. And I pull, oh shit, 2 success, 2 triumph, 1 despair.
Cool.
Damn.
Roberto Vance gives you a nod. And then he moves faster than you'd ever thought possible and slams one of his giant feet into Mina's chest and hammers her back against the door. And she just slides down in a mess. Mina, I am going to say that you take 5 points of damage that are unavoidable and unsoakable. It is just no armor
Takes the
helps you
wind
hit
out
a
of you.
wall that hard.
Yeah.
That's fine.
And Vance is looking at you, Nero, from a foot away and says, I don't like being threatened, but I do like making a deal. So, take your blood, stay out of the game. This will be fine. So, clearly this was just posturing for Mina and to show you can't muscle him, but you are going to get exactly what you want. He offers his forearm and he reaches, he's, where do you want it?
You know what? Dealer's choice.
All right, then fuck it. And he'll just uses his own sharpened nails to slash his arm, and he just puts a pool of blood on the table in the middle of the room. And he's like, all right, are we done? Can I go?
And I'll just look at him for a second as he bleeds, and just as I'm giving him just the sort of straight glare, say, you know, Sister Mina's a really nice lady. I think you owe her an apology on your way out. And then I'll go and open the door. He can leave. This is literally just me. Like, I'm good on my word, but I think he deserves. This is my way. This is my dick measuring contest move on his way out the door.
Yeah. Roberto Vance turns and walks towards the door, then stops in front of the space and looks down at Mina and he says, I think you deserve a better boss, you know. I'm available at this number. And he just drops a card with his own Voxcaster code on it, and he walks out, which I guess is the apology you're getting.
Yeah, it's fine.
And Vance has gone free. However, because of your injuries, Mina, you need to be looked after. So the question is, do you and Nero go to a Medicae to try to get yourself fixed up from this damage, or do you try to interrogate another target?
Mina's gonna just kind of cough and stand up and brush herself off. She's like, ah. But she's gonna try to stand up straight. She's like, very nice work, sir. Good job.
And I'll scoop the blood up into the gauntlet, and then I'm gonna get in under Mina, under her arm. It's funny because it's a little guy trying to carry a larger person, which is always funny. But I'll just smile at her and hold up the gauntlet, and I'll be like, Sister of Blood, indeed. Let's go get you patched up. We need you in fight and form.
Sir, don't you have any more work to do? I don't wish to take you away from further interrogations, considering.
And I'll just smile at her and be like, I do have more work to do. It's the Emperor's work. Now, come on. And I'll pat her on the side of the face, just chummily, just a little bop bop and say, let's go get you patched up.
She's so embarrassed by this, but she's just gonna quietly let him walk her away.
So you both travel upstairs to the Medicaid suites to see what you can find. Meanwhile, Seth.
Ryan, I have a quick question. What does House Vance specialize in? What work do they do?
House Vance. So they're all Promethium mining is their specialty. So that's they specialize traditionally in some of the deeper stuff, and the underground work is more where they specialize.
The Roberto Vance, Bob Vance.
Yeah.
Or like,
I mean,
am I the only one who didn't see Bob Vance?
It took me a few episodes, but I got there.
I've been sitting on it since the name came out, and I was just waiting for the moment.
I did not, until you said Bob, I did not clock Bob Vance.
I mean, they all have a number of smaller industries, and if you were to look into the particular properties that Roberto owns, we could get specific. But all I'm saying is he's left, and they're going to the Medicaid.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Seth, while this was all occurring, you traveled down to a refrigeration unit where you enter inside and find 2.5 bodies are currently on tables inside this space. It's large. It's nearly 15 meters by 15 meters. This is a huge room with 3 meters to the roof. It is lined wall to wall with frozen foodstuffs that you would recognize as being incredibly rare, valuable, shipped in from off-world. You probably find it criminal that a number of these had been frozen at all, because if you're going to order something that expensive, it should be cooked fresh. But clearly a bunch of stuff has been brought out of this room to make room for the 3 tables that have been laid in the center. They're all steel slabs. Next to each is a silver bowl sitting in a metal standee. And you can see that the personal effects of each of the dead people have been taken out and kind of off of them. Personal effects, pocket gear are set in the bowls. The clothes have been stripped but are laid out underneath the tables. So if you wanted to go through, if their clothing, you thought there'd be clues, it's there. And the bodies have been laid out on the tables. You can see 3, as we said, 2.5 bodies. One is from the shooter for Rancid. Another is the one who shot Krungus. And the third, who is mainly goo and a couple of fractures of bone, was the one who was grenaded, the 5th shooter of this entire event. Invictus is puttering between the bodies. He's got a data slate in his hands, and he offers one to you and just says, "I've been doing preliminary research into these corpses. What do you wish to know?"
Ugh, I didn't know you would be down here.
"I'm the expert on this world's record, so it's me or it's no one."
What have you found on these assailants so far?
Interesting. Yes, of course. That's what you would want to know. Can you roll me? Let's do. What's a good stat for you, my friend? I'm not going to lie. You're also using Invictus.
Cunning is a good stat for me. I was thinking kind of ahead, being like, who should look at the dead bodies? And I was like, perception is cunning. So I thought it might be me.
Yeah. Let's do that. Let's roll a perception then.
Okay. It would be
I'm gonna
perception.
say-
There's no investigation or anything, is there?
Not
really.
in this
No?
system.
Okay.
That's why we gave Nero interrogation. We made it up, and we're like, this
Right.
is a skill he should have that does not exist. So let's say difficulty 3. It's not the most difficult thing in the world. I will give you a boost because Invictus does know the system and has access to most of the information. I will give you a second boost because you would theoretically be able to pull up House Cologne's additional information about these people because you have access to sources that you can kind of cross-check in ways that otherwise might not be possible. And I will add 1 setback because undoubtedly there are going to be things in these people's past that has either been hidden or disguised by whoever sent them.
Okay. I also get +2 boost to perception with my integrated aspects. Would that apply here?
That would not.
No.
Well, integrated. Let me double check what you can learn. Yes, that. Do you know what? I will say that would apply here because that means you have a better Auspex setup than Invictus does. So you might be able to find more clues physically on the bodies you're reviewing.
Yeah, I would like thinking in terms of like the limited information we have on like Homo Novus. I'm looking for like even stuff like subdermally or like tattoos, scarring, markings like on their bodies. Like I would like inspect the clothes and stuff like that, but then we would also just like cut that shit off and like I would look at their naked corpses to really find out
you're used to
any
the
kind
cult
of
stuff. That's definitely in the run. Yeah, I would say yes, add the boost for that then.
Okay. Then I have my dice pool.
I will use a story point to make it a little harder for you.
Okay. I will not. We're still coming out ahead here, so I'm going to hope that the dice fall in my favor.
Okay.
And they did. 2 successes, 4 advantages, and a triumph.
All right, you're going to find out a
Nice.
bunch of stuff. So,
All right, get my pen ready.
from the beginning of what you know, so let me walk you through what we know about these corpses. So this here, and he gestures to what looks like just a very, very tanned male body laying on his lap. He says, this was the person who shot Rancid from above. Now, interestingly enough, they may appear to be tanned, but if you look closer, and you take out your auspex and then give them a scan, and you can actually see that the radiation levels are really high on their skin, specifically in the bands that would trigger tanning. And he's like, this is what's known as a speed tan. It's a way to stay beautiful if you're incredibly wealthy, or die incredibly young if you're poor. But this, I checked the DNA, and is known as Theodosius Craze, a character who had no house affiliation, or so it seemed. For think of the speed tan. Who would need to disguise themselves to appear tanned? Why, a member of House Vance! Exactly. You run the details, and you can see that checks out.
I'm thinking someone who has spent their entire life underground, right? And then being made to appear that they don't do that they haven't lived underground.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's what you find from the first body. He's kind of giving you a walkthrough first, and then there may be more you can find out afterwards.
Okay.
The second body, he walks you over and says, so this is a woman who shot Crungus Marcus. Now, interestingly, her name is Gwendolyn Marcus. She's a very muscled woman, very much what you would see as the stereotypical kind of Marcus figure. Just a lot of piercings in the face, kind of neck, even the arms, very showy, very power liftery, very dead. But interestingly enough, she was formerly of House Vance and switched over to House Marcus. How suspicious, one could say. Highly suspicious. And then there is this figure. And he just points to the couple of bones in a pile of goo. I don't know who they are. I ran the DNA, though, and there is no trace whatsoever.
There's, sorry, I'll ask this in character. There is no record for this DNA, is that what you're telling me?
Yes, which is incredibly upsetting, because the people on this world are all gene traced. It is strange to have someone who is unaffected and unlinked with anything.
Very interesting.
Perhaps if you compare it with the records you've gained from House Cologne, we can discover more.
Yes, the interrogator would be quite keen to learn of this. You've collected samples, yes?
Yes.
You provide those samples to Interrogator Nero.
Of course, but can you double-check the work before we do so? I'm so excited by good investigations.
Oh, fine. And I'll take his data slate or something.
So you will get to compare it to the Cologne databases. So because I've already given you a lot, but you did get that triumph, which is pretty sexy. So this is going to be a straight 4+. I want a D6. On a 4, 5, or 6, you will find something else out based on the Cologne database. On a 1 to 3, you will not. So first, it's the work into Theodosius Craze.
So the roll for that was a 2.
Nope. It checks out just that all you can find is the history that's been given. Clearly, this is someone of House Vance who has now been listed as unaffiliated, but they were trying to hide that they were from House Vance. Then for Gwendolyn Marcus.
A 3. We're getting closer. Getting closer to figuring this caper out.
Yep, nope. All the information checks out. There's no more secrets.
Yeah.
And then you don't have any DNA information on the last one, but roll for that as well.
A 1. So we filled out the bottom half, but
Invictus's work is incredibly convincing. As far as you can tell, both of these assassins have clear links to House Vance. The one who shot Krungus was formerly of House Vance, let go recently, which feels like that could be obviously you're fired, I could do this job. You don't know the third figure, and for the first one, they are actively trying to hide the fact that they are from House Vance.
Okay.
That is what you have learned. Meanwhile, Piper.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I was just going to act out the last bit, just more derision towards Invictus. So just like I toss the data slate back and be like, yes, it all checks out. Thank you, Invictus. I try to get out of there and away from him as quickly as possible.
Ah, I see. I'm a genius, you agree. We are close friends, you and I. Close friends forever.
We are not friends. Do not tell people we are friends.
I've already sent the message.
Yeah. You feel a ping, and he has sent you your own Inquisition agent file, and it now includes close personal friend of
I love it.
Inquisitorial prefect.
Confidants is just Invictus.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel so bad. He's so delightful and so icky.
Yeah. Piper, one of the enforcers is assigned to roll you around, and you get wheelchaired down to a room where you find Ignatius Ironforth puttering around. It's right next to the freezer, so it takes you a little longer to get there. You see Seth walking out yelling, "I'm not your friend," into the freezer as you finally arrive.
Piper approves.
Yeah. And Ignatius is standing, it's a outdoor storage room. A lot of the stuff that was in the freezer is out surrounding it, but you've got Ignatius Ironforth with a large table. He has 2 servitors, and a number of his mechadendrites are scanning equipment on the table. You can see a number of weapons.
And he's like, I'm glad you made it. It's time for me to teach you about these guns, eh?
Can I speak to him too, or am I just raw?
He has a fully functioning. No, he has a fully functioning brain pattern, so I think you would be able to. Also, he understands that you are a psyker and would not actually have any fear of it. So you would have pretty easy access to his mind.
He's been all up in there.
Yeah.
You're looking good. I'm glad you're not dead.
Yeah, me too. Let's get this over with so we can proceed with the things that are more pertinent to me personally. So let's do the Inquisition stuff now and then right on out of here.
Fair enough. So let me walk you through these weapons. This is kind of interesting. They came from different shooters. But there are a couple of different qualities, which is surprising, because usually people like guns that are kind of simple. Ha, 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 because people are kind of simple. Ha, 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 ha. Okay, let's get into this. So... This first gun here came up from in the rafters. It was one of the 2 shooters who was up there, and it is finely made. And he picks it up and he shows it to you, and it is looking like top of the line Mechanicus tech. He's like, very, very impressive. So this is a coil gun. I don't know if you've heard about these, but very good stuff. This is cutting edge Mechanicus tech. They don't even put these out there. I don't know who got it. I don't know how, but it is very impressive. And it would be, I would say whisper quiet, but whispers make sounds, and this baby's making nothing. Ha, 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 ha. And he just puts it back on the table.
It belongs to just the Mechanicus. You're saying that someone has gotten this either from a direct connection in the Mechanicus or stolen it.
Correct.
Right.
I don't think you could actually steal one of these without us knowing. So someone probably made a deal to get either one or a shipment of these things, and that's pretty spooky. Then we got these 2 guns. These 2, and he holds them out to you. They're like that, but worse. And he shows you 2 weapons that appear to be jury-rigged. You can see obvious soldering marks on them. The energy packages around the barrel are different. You can see copper wiring around magnets lining the edge of the barrel. And he's like, these are also coil guns, but it looks like these got put together real quick and not so good. This is not something any Mechanicus would do. This is real fecally, as one might say. Real fecally. Ha, ha, ha. That's a joke. You get that, right?
Yep. What's the next one?
Okay, so there's those 2. Then there's this shotgun, which is interesting because it definitely comes from House Marcus. It's got the stamp you can see from their own internal setup. So that's the one that shot Gazzy. And then there's this.
House. All right.
House Marcus, yeah. And then there's this, which is an auto gun. And he holds it though. This is from the guy who got exploded. It's untraceable. I don't know where it came from. I've ran spectrometry. I've checked the other metals. I cannot track this back to a forge. I cannot track this back to a house, and there are no filing numbers. This thing was made to not be remembered. I don't know who it's from. It was loaded with dum-dum bullets, which means it is designed to kill people in tuxedos, even if they're really strong.
Okay, so we've got a smattering of like different weapons of varying quality and varying origins. And the only thing we know... All right, so House Marcus are there any, like, I don't know, fingerprints, like, gene shit? Like, I don't know. We got trace blood on these guns or something?
Well, just a second. And you just hear a ding, like a toaster going. And he's like, I sent it to Invictus. Yeah, these match the bodies. These were carried by the people who are dead or alive.
All right, so how is this useful?
You're welcome! And you realize that it will be up to you to solve this information before you can take it to the rest of the group. Can you roll me...
Great.
It would have to be intelligence-based.
Sure.
Or cunning-based, whichever you would prefer. What skill do you think...
Intelligence, I think.
What skill do you think would represent her ability to put this together?
I'd probably be a tech use.
Yeah, let's go for it.
I
It's
would
your ability
think.
to keep track of the technology.
Yeah,
I'd agree with that.
I think so.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so what am I rolling?
Roll that difficulty 3.
Okay.
I will give you a boost because the info is good, and a setback because you're not an expert in this kind of deduction.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Tech use, intellect. Okay. All right, I guess let's just do it.
Let's see what happens.
Oh boy. Oh wow. 1 advantage, 1 triumph, 1 failure.
I'm just going to ignore the failure because the triumph for me overwhelms a single failure pretty dramatically. The advantage will also help with the failure. So what I will do, because this also is not super complicated, you would guess that these guns have come from 4 different sources, which doesn't entirely surprise you, but it's interesting the way you can group them if you look at the timeline of events, which you've had described to you. And I think that's why you can put this together, is because you weren't in the room with the shooting. You heard the description of recreation, which is clearly the finely made coil gun is the gun that shot Rancid. You know that's a very solid kind of solitary thing. That's high source.
Yeah.
There are 2 kind of shittier coil guns. Those likely came from the same source. They appear to be made from the same tools. They seem to have the same kind of inherent flaws.
Yeah.
One of them was used by the shooter, and you know this because you ran the DNA to link weapons to people, so you could see that. One of them was used to shoot Lucia Bane, and the other was used to shoot Krungus Marcus.
Okay.
So you would guess there's a link between those shooters.
Yeah.
Then there's the Marcus shotgun, which is its own big question mark.
Yeah.
Because as you can see, someone from House Marcus shot a Marcus shotgun at a head of state in a dinner, which is fucking weird.
Yeah.
And the untraceable autogun, you don't know anything about that, and that is a weird question mark unto itself. So that stands out as was this somebody's ace in the hole? Is this something shady, or is that something separate? You don't know.
Okay.
And that is where you all find yourself after having gone to the Medicaid, where you will receive 2 points of healing, Mina, because this is a very, very good house for immediate first aid. You all find yourself back together. What do you know? A lot. How much of it adds together? Really simply, none. And you're running out of time before you can catch the person trying to kill the governor of the system, which could destabilize everything before you even get to Homo Novus. A captured audio log from the bridge of Fabius Bile's flagship. A mystery
I hate mysteries. Come back to me when you have answers, or show me the courtesy of dying quietly while you look for them. Everybody likes answers, even Fabius Bile. And you would all really like to find some answers. So the party are all rejoining after having been separated. However, Seth, one of the enforcers in the hallway, waves you over towards them and gestures towards a door to a side room up on the governor's floor. What do you do?
I'll go. I'll follow.
Wonderful. He just opens the door. You step inside and the door closes, and you find Lucia Bane sitting back in at the 40K equivalent of a hospital table. It's a small room, but everything is sized for someone of Lucia Bane's size. This doesn't entirely surprise you. The medical suites on this floor are likely for Ghazi, who's a little smaller than the others, as we've said, but Rancid, who is as big as the other house leaders. She's still in her gear. Her shoulder has been patched up, and she looks shockingly comfortable. She's almost lounging. She looks to you and just says, "Oh, I'm glad she could make it. So, the fun of this is, I know I didn't do this, and someone did. But you owe me a favor, my little friend. So what I want you to do is to find Roberto Vance guilty and execute him. That's my favor."
Are you sure that's your favor?
Yes.
Are you sure you wouldn't rather win the heist? And I pull out the crown.
Here's the interesting thing, though. You've told me that the governor wants me to win this, which means I have to win today and tomorrow for me to get what I want, and for you to get what you want, and for him to get what he wants, which means that crown is already mine. What I want is a favor from you. I want you to take your little investigation with your little friends, and I want you to convince him to execute Roberto Vance for these crimes. Because I think he's got the best shot of taking me out, taking you out, and taking the gubernatorial crown.
I understand. However, I don't understand how you came to that conclusion. Roberto Vance has not won a single event. What threat does he pose now, this late in the game?
Well, see, I had to burn my favor tonight. Roberto Vance still has a favor tomorrow. And Crungus Marcus still has a favor tomorrow. But Crungus Marcus is fucking stupid. Whereas Roberto Vance is a cunning asshole. There's a very reasonable chance that he did what happened tonight anyways, and you'll never be able to pin it on him. Which is why I would like him to be dead. Because Crungus Marcus is a walnut we can crack. Roberto Vance is a snake who might bite us.
I am one of four in this Inquisitor band. I will do what I can. However, I cannot promise that my efforts alone will lead to the execution of Roberto Vance. I am, however, trying to conduct an imperial investigation, an inquisitorial investigation. And Roberto Vance is, I will tell you, a suspect. If you allow me to carry on with my investigation unimpeded by threats or coercion, you may get the result you are looking for.
Can you roll me a... What do you think this would fall under?
It shoots me in the foot, but cool.
Yeah, let's go with cool then.
All right.
Difficulty will be 3 red, 1 purple.
For me, I feel like
before it started.
I feel like every roll that Seth rolls should be a survival.
There's virtually no way I win this, but let's roll it. Ha! one failure, one threat, one despair. I poop my pants. I try to act cool, but I slip and fall and fart.
I think instead she just stands. And unlike Nero, who had Mina to back him up and had the hammer of the Inquisition behind him, Seth, at your core, you're a survivor more than anything else. And just seeing a giant monster stand when you, as a Hive noble, are also capable of understanding when things are bluffs and when things are not bluffs. And she, of any of the house leaders, you think would be capable of wiping out your Inquisitorial party in a way no one would spot, is just like, again, you seem to think that we're negotiating. You owe me a favor because you failed me. And I don't like failures remaining alive. So I understand there are challenges. That's why this is a favor. If it was easy, you'd already have done it because we're friends. So go out there, and she puts a hand down on your shoulder, and it just feels like someone set a 200-pound dumbbell on your left arm. She's like, find Roberto Vance guilty. You're part of the Inquisition. You can do whatever you need to. You speak with the voice of the Emperor. And now I'm speaking the mind of the Emperor. And she just grinds a thumb into that space between your collarbone and your neck, deep and low. And you take 1 point of damage from that.
Wow.
That is unable to be blocked or blunted or whatever. That's just pure straight into torso.
Yeah.
And she says, so go out there and do your case and know that there's no coercion affecting you. You're just catching the guilty party. And you'll solve this mystery because the fate of the world depends on it. Because every man is his own world.
Oh my.
And I think kind of her hand, I think, stays there. I think it's like, you know, when you, if you've ever been to a theme park and you sit in a roller coaster and the harness comes down, I think that harness is her hand, just like around the front of my neck, squeezing into, like you said, that gap by the collarbone.
So gnarly.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, I rolled 2 green dice for cool. Seth cannot act like this is not working on him. He, I think, folds like a house of cards, and through like sweat and managing to like choke these words out with her hand kind of around his throat, around his chest, like just, yeah, she's holding him down against the wall. He just says, the guilty will be punished and executed, as is the Emperor's will.
Excellent. Now get out there and do the Emperor's work. And she just raises her hand, and you can feel the weight come off of you immediately. And I'm imagining you turn and walk out. I don't know if you have any parting words, but she's turned away and is walking back to lounge some more.
He like turns and reaches the wrong side of the door for the doorknob, so there's just like a, and he's like, and he like goes out like, yeah, he's been put in his place.
And you hurry back out, and the full party meets back up to relay what they've learned and figure out what the second stage of your 3-part investigation will include.
I was going to say, as Nero and Mina are walking back, I assume they probably gave her some kind of drugs to make her not in pain. And she's just like, I think you're a very good boss, Nero. Have I told you that recently?
Sister Mina, you haven't, but I'm always real happy to hear it. I didn't want to say anything back there, but those words cut pretty deep. There's a lot of things I'm not too sure about anymore, you know? There's a lot of things I can't be certain about, but I thought I was pretty certain I was a good boss, but God, he really shook me, that Bob.
No, he was forgive me for saying this, an asshole. But I think you're a great boss, and you did wonderful work tonight. I had faith in you, and you've planted your garden and done a wonderful job of keeping it fed. Yes. I think they gave me something.
Yeah, I think they did, but honestly, I think I need to figure out what it was, because this is a good look for you. Come on, let's sure everything worked out. You know, everyone else is always doing such a good job. I'm sure everything worked out. And the most important thing is
you're right.
Yeah, and the important thing is you're all right. Thanks for taking that hit and for having my back. I really appreciate it.
I do think that we need to burn the body after we free Piper.
Oh, we're going to burn that body.
Seth might eat it otherwise. And you're very welcome. I'm here to protect you, of course. That was merely me doing my duty.
Yeah, on second thought, maybe we don't need you on these drugs much longer. Because now all Nero can see is just Seth, like, sitting there in his full, like, imperial finery with, like, a little napkin tucked up over an ascot, just, you know, fork and knife, dead black eyes, just nomming away at this flesh sack.
A nice glass of Chianti and some fava beans.
It's just a Hieronymus Bosch painting you can't get away from.
I love that that's what, like, deep down Olianne, like, took away from Delectum Antemortem.
100%.
Not a mistake. Seth's a cannibal.
So
gotta watch him.
Nero and Mina, you end up inside the fake governor's chamber because that room is still empty. Piper, you're wheeled in a moment later by your enforcer who exits after they bring you in. And Seth, you are the last to arrive. And you can all catch each other up on what you've learned and figure out where you want to go from here.
And
Roberto Vance must die.
No, I really wish
had a hypothesis, and now he just really needs to kind of sell it as a conclusion, because it was not looking good for Roberto Vance based on his findings, and so now he just feels the urge to sell it harder, less like a hypothesis or a theory, and more like this is the only conclusion that we can draw. I've written out like a kind of just to get my ideas like in order here. He'll just say, I have reason to believe that Roberto Vance is, if not Homo Novus itself, he is directly involved with the Homo Novus plan. We know that Vance is assembling a secret army underground. My investigation of the corpses found that 2 of the 3 assailants are linked to Vance with evidence of efforts to hide those same links. Vance escaped the attack unscathed, and he used Skullshield's daughter as his heist crew, likely knowing that she had a vendetta against us, and she used overwhelming force to ambush Warden during the heist. It seemed like his heist crew was less interested in winning and more interested in dismantling or destroying the Inquisition. Perhaps the only force capable of stopping Homo Novus on this planet. Roberto Vance is suspect number 1.
Ryan?
Yes.
I currently have 2 blood samples. The one I got from Crungus Marcus is a tainted sample that I'll need to run through the big machine back home.
Yep.
But my Roberto Vance sample
that one's pure. You can run a Roberto.
So I'm going to listen to him do the whole thing, doing my best to Caprio squint and listen. And then I'm just going to hold up my Infinity Gauntlet arm and push a button. And I would like to see if he is indeed Homo Novus.
You get the green light. He is not Homo Novus. He matches the earlier genetic sample.
Yeah, so Seth, that's a pretty compelling argument. The army is concerning. I know you're thorough, so I'm sure you've got some other information. But Little Green here says that he's not Homo Novus. Now that still leaves Crungus Marcus to check, but
well, Fabius Bile is not going to make Homo Novus a candidate for governor. Surely someone in his retinue or something like that. Certainly Roberto Vance is conspiring with Homo Novus.
And I'll hear him out, but I'll kind of put up a hand and say, I'm sorry, Inquisitor Billingberg told us that it was one of the gubernatorial candidates. So I trust your little notebook, but I trust him more.
If you trust him so much, why is Marcus still alive? Process of elimination says he must be Homo novus. Yes?
I've never been a huge fan.
I was saying, or is there perhaps some nuance to this mission and our target?
Can I roll a... So I'm obviously going to put up a fight for this, but I need to know whether I'm doing it because I know Seth
for my life over here.
No, I know. And I would like to roll to see if I pick up on that or if I'm just fighting with Seth because he think he's being obstinate. Either way, I'm going to argue with him. But Ryan, what do you think? Like a perception? Maybe?
Yeah, let's do a perception.
I'm not actively trying to. I just
That's why. Yeah, perception from you because you're not actively engaged with it, and your difficulty will be Seth's deception. So what's your deception for this?
My deception, Seth? I have 2 ranks in it.
Okay.
So that's 2 yellows and 3 greens for me. So it's 3 purple, 2 reds.
Ooh, he's a cunning boy.
Yep. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough.
I could interject something that may it may put a little bit on there. That Mina speaks up and she says, I, for one, am happy that we are circling back to my original plan, which is kill everyone. I vote Seth, yes.
All right, I'd like to give myself a setback because I've been betrayed by my closest confidant.
Yeah, that's reasonable. I am going to use a story point to up the difficulty against this check because I feel like Seth is lying through his teeth. And the idea of, I don't know which, here's the other thing I want to be clear. I'm raising the difficulty, but I don't know whether it's we should kill Crungus Marcus. There's a whole bunch of ways this could go wrong, and that'll be very negotiable if it goes wrong.
Piper, it doesn't really matter to her, who wins this. She kind of wants Nero to be wrong just because she's kind of wants Nero to be wrong. But honestly, let the facts speak for themselves is kind of her stance. So she's going to stay out of it for the moment.
All right. I got 2 green, 1 yellow, 2 purple, 3 red, 1 black. Ooh. I'm going to ace this fucking test. All right.
Let's see that despair.
Jumanji, 4 failure, 2 threat. So I think it's safe to say I definitely do not pick. Well, either I don't pick up on it, or I do, and I do something blatant about it. I'll leave that in your hands, Ryan.
I think because he's lying to affect the investigation, and you were trying to figure out whether or not it felt weird or not. I think it's just his argument is starting to make sense. I think that's
cool.
That's the answer. So I'll let you interpret whether that means you're we gotta prove it's Marcus or kill Marcus, or whether you want to find more proof, or whether you want to declare. You've got all those options. Yep. It's just, I'd say, you're leaning towards his way of thinking.
Sure. Yeah. So I'll still get my rankles up because not fully following just yet, but I'll go. Yeah. I mean, fuck yeah. Of course, there's always nuance. There's always nuance to these things, and God, I didn't even know that someone had been tinkering, with, and I'll point at my head, and I think I'll just kind of trail off a little bit and kind of look down and just say, maybe you're right, Seth. There's probably some nuance we're missing here. There's probably some things we're not seeing. That's it's the only way the Confederacy worked in the first place, right? Was no one was looking for it. So yeah, you're right. No, you're right. You're right. There's more to this. There's more to it. Something more to it. There's more to it. I'm gonna figure it out. And I'll just drift away, muttering to myself. Now fully all the previous getting it together shit has fallen away. All previous semblance of I've got this fallen away. And yeah, I'll just kind of stumble away, fairly broken by the fact that I've, to my mind at least, missed the entire point of the investigation we're doing. And I'll go in search of booze.
I think Mina will follow him and be probably not very helpful, but will be just
You've
Pretty
both
helpful.
seen Gazzy get a drink for Rancid in here before, so one of the cloth hangings you could pull aside and there's a full bar, so drinks are a few feet away.
Right. I will grab the shiniest looking bottle of Vicodin and just start we're gonna pour myself like a full tumbler and then carry the bottle just kind of back out and just kind of sit down and stare at Seth kind of in a what next coach sort of way.
Do you grab a chair to sit? Do you sit on the floor, or are you sitting on the arm of Piper's wheelchair?
Oh man, I mean, for comedy's sake, I'd love to perch on Piper, but no, he's proper fucked up. I think you will find a chair.
Yeah.
But it's some real like Seymour Skinner staring out his blinds, thinking about Nom kind of stuff, where I'm literally just kind of staring at the liquid, muttering to myself about like, maybe I misunderstood. He had so many orders, and now, oh God, Emperor. What do I do? And I'll just big swig and then just kind of stare up at Seth. Say, all right, so we're killing him?
Yes.
Piper interjects at this point. She says, okay, so I know that you guys are like, the ones who are supposed to be like figuring out all like, I do my like astropath stuff. Okay, whatever. All I'm saying is that there might be like something else to consider, that like, Vance just like really wants to be governor. So he was going to do like whatever it took to like take it by force, but not actually like related to the Homo Novus. And we still got to check out like Krungus, right? Like, why are we worried about this right now when we're like not even sure that he's like Homo Novus? Like, there are just like so many reasons you could be like amassing an army that have like nothing to do. Like, come on, the politics here are fucked, right? Don't we gotta like check the Krungus blood? No? Just me? Just, am I the only one thinking that like maybe like we gather that information first before just like executing someone? I'm not saying he's like not shitty and he probably should die. They should all probably die, like probably be better for the system. But like, just like priorities? Hello?
Yes. Speak more on priorities. Tell us, what should we do next, Piper?
Analyze the Krungus sample?
Analyze the Krungus sample. Do you think it will come back Homo Novus? Do you think that's the missing bit? Or do you think it will come back another green sample and we'll be right back here having this conversation again?
Well, I think either way we should do our like bloody due diligence and like figure out. I mean, okay, so what you're saying is that we execute Vance and then we just like say, okay, job done, and go away confident that the Homo Novus problem has been dealt with.
No,
That's
I'm saying that Homo Novus was installed here during an election, during a gubernatorial race, when the leadership was as compromised as it could be, with multiple people vying for control of an entire world, giving Homo Novus the best chance of securing a position of power. I'm saying if we execute a prime suspect in front of the public, saying the investigation is ongoing, we may tip their hand, they may make a mistake, or they may recede into the shadows, and the world will gain stability, and the new governor will be able to defend from such attacks once in power.
Okay, but let's say, what if the new governor that comes into power is actually Homo Novus because we like got the wrong person?
Right, well, counterpoint, say they're not.
All right, let's pause here. This is definitely a die roll at this point.
Oh my god!
I think, Piper, we can agree you're trying to see through Seth's bullshit, or at least present reason. Would you say that you are arguing with Seth, or do you think Seth is lying? Like, well, I'm trying to figure out your exact level of engagement here.
No, I don't think he's lying. I think he's just like wanting to get this done too hastily. Like, I think
not
he's
being thorough.
Yeah, I think he's just not being thorough and wants things to be solved because he's like sick of it.
Okay,
I think he's not seeing clearly for some reason, but I don't think it's a lie.
Then this could be perception. It could, if you're just trying to see the flaws in his argument and point them out. It could be cool if you're trying to stay together, like put together, even though he's still really gunning at you. It could be discipline if you're trying to say that like this is how we do the job. This is where changes are. We got to follow by kind of the tradition.
I think discipline sounds right.
Great, let's go with that then.
Yeah.
The difficulty will be Seth's deception because he's rocking that strong deceptive choices. The difficulty is what, Seth?
That'd be 5 together. So 2 reds and 3 purple would be the difficulty.
Welcome to my world.
Poor Nero.
You will get 2 boost because you are arguing for traditional Imperial stuff. And as much of this is convincing Mina and Nero that you're correct, as opposed to just changing your mind as a character. Like, this is just where do the winds in the room sway. I will spend a story point, however, to boost Seth's argument.
Oof. I think I will spend a story point as well, just because I think Piper would really fight for reason to be seen.
Piper's not been known to back down.
Yeah. Okay. Ooh, this is looking hinky. All right. We good?
There's a reason I'm staring into a full glass of liquor now rather than engaging.
Okay, I'm rolling. Ooh, 1 success, 1 advantage, 1 triumph.
Oh my goodness.
Well, there's only one possible answer to this scenario when it's your character, Piper. Piper, you're arguing, and sometimes you can't help when you pick up on things, especially when you get caught into a back and forth of words, because it means your brain is instinctively syncing up with the other party's mind. And you pick up his conversation with Lucia Bane, and you know why he is arguing what he is arguing. This does not, to be clear, this does not mean you have to out him, because you also know he's not fucking lying. If you don't do this, Seth dies.
Yeah.
But you know that.
Okay. I think Piper gives like a long, hard look through the weird fucking pseudo corpse of Rancid.
Oh yeah, you're still a bag of goo at all times.
Still a bag of immobile glue or goo. But it's a very Piper look.
I don't. Is she sleeping?
Through.
What happened? What is this?
And I think she takes a beat. I think she decides not to out Seth because he's still the only one who can really fight whatever the fuck Nero's doing. So I think she doesn't want to give Nero ammo against Seth for any future arguments.
So the argument is, if Seth dies, Nero takes the whole party down with them.
Yeah.
So he's a counterbalance. It's a seesaw of danger.
That's 100%. That's 100% what it is.
Oh boy. Choose your anchor. Tie it around your neck.
It's all right. Horace will lift us all back up where we belong.
So I think so. So Piper just says, okay. All right, so I think we can all say that we do not give any shits about who wins this governorship, like in the bigger picture. So, all right, let's execute fence. I'll say that, but immediately we got to analyze that Krunga sample. All right, can we do both those things? Just like super fast, so we know what is going on.
Yeah, I should chime in here. We can't actually do either of those things super fast. We could do them, but not
here.
Not,
we have him in custody.
Yeah, about that.
He punches very hard.
He punched Mina very hard.
Why do we know that about him? Where is he?
Well.
Okay, here's funny. I literally forgot.
Yeah, so to Piper's point, we don't really give a single shit about who wins the gubernatorial race, but we do need blood to test. So you know this little green guy that went ding? Yeah, I got the blood, but he could have killed me and Mina handily, so I had to let him go. You know a thing or two about staying alive, Seth? He was in a small room and he was fucking mad. So we got his blood. I've got Krungus' blood, but it's a tainted sample. I need to get back to the Bolter Express. So, fun fact, we can totally do that. I know Mina would be super happy. But it's not as simple as going downstairs and putting a bullet in him. And honestly, it was never going to be that simple.
So, let me get this straight. Seth is like pinching the bridge of his nose. Someone physically attacked a member of the Inquisition during an interrogation. Yes?
Yes.
And in response, we let him go. A prime suspect.
Yeah, I also can't participate in the next game.
What is happening? What is happening?
Seth,
why can't you participate?
Well, it's part of my deal with Vance. When I let him go, I
can't believe you're making deals with the gubernatorial candidates.
Seth, I'm sorry. I'm trying to do my best
Piper
here.
kind of like looks to Seth like, really? Like gonna go there? But she can't say anything, but that's the thought.
you need to understand. Also, I don't think I can pick up on that because you're looking through like 8 layers of
she also can't really like move her
flesh.
head. So
No, 100%. Like it's just you in. I think you should leave glaring at someone. Yeah. But I'll continue and be like, you got to understand with the way Invictus has tied our hands, we can't swing around the hammer of the Inquisition the way we normally would. You know, he's made it very, very clear that we have extraordinarily limited powers here on this planet. So I took all the tools we had available to us as the Inquisition and I used them because we needed to get the blood to test it to make sure we could figure out whether or not he was Homo Novus. So it's great that you want to play fucking grimdark Sherlock Holmes, who's probably, I don't know, a Tyranid or some shit, but we needed the blood more than we needed his head. Unless there's something I'm missing here. And then I look down my glass, I'm like, and there probably is, because I've been missing a lot lately, including my fucking past. And I'll like throw it at a wall and then just swig from the bottle.
And you just hear a knock at the door. And through the door, you just
you guys have been in there for a fucking while and we're trying to solve a murder. Can I come in?
Then fucking solve it, Catan! And then I'll just like swig some more and just like go stand in a corner.
Yes, come in.
Chasener Bo-Katan opens the door, uncomfortable, but in that like big guy walking into a room where there's an argument. Like he's not actually in danger by any of it, but it's more like he doesn't want anybody else to be weird. He's got a data slate in one hand. He's in his full combat gear. So we're talking like silvery carapace, Judge Dredd helmet,
nice.
Shotgun slung across his back. And behind him this time, he has a Cyber Mastiff. You haven't seen one of these with him before, but it's clear now that they're on war footing. A Cyber Mastiff is the size of the biggest dogs, like the Tibetan, like bear hounds, that kind of thing. Only it is made of steel and metal and other bits. Moves like a dog. Its mouth is 2 chain blades that can open and clang together. So when it bites you, it just...
It's a very good boy.
Yeah. And it just sits at the door as he goes in. He's like, all right, so you guys need more time to figure out which one of these fuckers tried to kill the governor? Because we will take them out.
Hey, Chasener, sorry I yelled at you before. It's been a rough night. Look, when you say take them out, do you mean take them out no matter where they are? Like, they can't hide from justice, right?
Not with the Arbites on the fucking table. We'll take them out. You can't hide from us.
Just full arms out, sloshing liquor away, and I'll just look at Seth and be like, your move, asshole.
The investigation is ongoing, but Roberto Vance has been found guilty of conspiring against the Empire.
Well, if Roberto Vance tried to kill the governor, why are you still talking to other people? We'll just go fucking get him right now. We'll say we arrested Crungus Marcus for fucking doing it. And then I'll need Vance to come back as a witness. I'll send him, and then I'll basically shoot him in public on camera, and we'll say he was a traitor. And then we'll give his house to somebody, like probably the Cologne family. I don't fucking know. They don't have much of a house, so we'll do it with them. It'll balance the whole thing out.
Yay!
Yes, that... Just like looks at Mina, just like, what the hell was that?
And I'll just like raise a thumbs up from across the room.
That, yes, that should work. That's rather tidy. Good job. Well done.
Just serving justice. You did the investigation. So who gave that crown to that fucking governor?
I forgot his name.
Vulcan?
Vulcan? There we go.
Vulcan.
Technically, no one did yet.
It's still in your pocket, Seth.
Yeah.
Right.
But does it belong to Lucia, as she implied?
Yeah. I think Seth is done kind of like messing around with Lucia. He's acutely aware that she is shrewd and brutal. So I think he'll just say that I believe the victor was House Bane.
All right, then. We'll get that announcement out on the fucking prop channels, and I'll deal with this this whole fucking Vance thing. We'll get this sumbitch taken right out. So, we'll give you guys a secure lift home, make sure nobody at the party has a problem with you, and then we'll let everybody else go. Stay tuned to your vid channels if you want to see a big guy die hard.
Seth just has nothing to say. He's just kind of like, this is working out. I am tired and scared.
You couldn't see it, but Del just, like, as Mina, did, like, polite applause at that. It was wonderful.
Before he goes, I'll kind of shuffle over to him and say what Tom, would ask a local if I was trying to find a channel. I'll just be like, hey, yeah, for those of us out of town, what channel are you talking? Because Sister Mina's really going to want to watch that shit.
Oh, if you turn on the screens in your hotel room, we override all the frequencies for the big stuff, so you'll see it.
You're a good man, Chasener. You're a good man. Good luck in Emperor's Speed.
So the results of this happened in relatively quick order. Seth, just to storybook this, because there's 1,000 ways it could go, would you give the crown to Lucia, or would you give it to Gazzy to give to Lucia, or what would your plan be?
I would go to Lucia. I would give her the crown, and I would also tell her that her favor's been fulfilled, and to watch vid screens tonight, and that we are even.
I appreciate the sentiment and the skills that you've shown this day. No, you don't leave this room as my enemy, nor as my vassal. You leave this room as my friend.
Yes, well, we'll see you at the next event, friend.
Exactly. I can't wait to win tomorrow. Have a good night. So you get to escape. All of you are escorted.
It should be also on Seth's docket under his friends.
Mina, over his shoulder, you have a data slate once he gets out to the hallway, and you can make a note.
Just looks at him and scowls. He hates everyone on that list.
Yeah. So you all get to leave the party. You take an armored limousine back to the Bolter Express. Your guards are still in place from all of the houses. However, it's interesting to see when you arrive that all of the Vance troops have been subtly disarmed by enforcers who now stand amongst them. You get a chance to go back in and go up to your room, and you flip on the screen. And it is a traditional newscast style broadcast. Is cut in, and it's like, this is what's happening. There's a woman with very stern features, slick back blonde hair, wearing a militarized style uniform, sitting at the desk, and she's like, this is the news that's coming in. We can't believe it. There was an assassination attempt on Governor Rancid Cologne. He's fine. Don't worry about it. Praise the Emperor. Don't worry about it. But the breaking news is Lucia Bane has won the crown. She's won the heist. And even more terrifying, Roberto Vance has been found guilty of treason. We're cutting to it live. And you just see a single enforcer vehicle of Arbites, just an armored car parked out in front of the Vance building. And Roberto Vance steps out along with 3 guards. And he's walking down to the vehicle quite casually. The camera is, hidden and shooting through a bush, kind of the hidden version of things. And then you just hear, now! And spotlights hit the front of it. The guards raise their weapons, and you see Chasener Bo-Katan firing over the vehicle out front while his Cybermastiff dashes forwards. He guns down 2 of the guards. The Cybermastiff takes the 3rd. Roberto Vance is like, what the fuck is going on? And you just hear Chasener Bo-Katan yell, he's got a gun! And he throws a pistol over, and then he just pulls up a grenade launcher and just fries Vance. Vance, however, does not go down easy. He takes the grenade, sprays blood across his torso. He's charging towards the car, and Bo-Katan has his shotgun up, and he's just firing over and over again until Bo-Katan is forced to run, and the camera pans up, and you see a chopper flying in, an archaeocopter with strangely bug-like wings, but a chain cannon at the bottom. And the chain cannon just opens up in a hail of fire, and the camera pans back over, and you just watch Vance get fucking mulched. Like, he just becomes 20 feet of spray on the ground. And that is the end of Roberto Vance. And the camera pans up to catch a blood-sprayed sign that says Vance Refrigeration.
This episode of the Valentyne Heresy features Tom McGee at McGeeTD on Twitter as Interrogator Nero Abagnale, Laura Elizabeth at EL Hamstring on Twitter as Piper Fairley, Tyler Hewitt at Tyler_Hewitt on Twitter as Seth Corbyn, Del Borovic at Deltastic on Twitter as Sister Olianne Mina, and our Game Master Ryan LaPlante at the Ryan LaPlante on Twitter. This episode was edited and mixed by Laura Hamstra, and the Valentyne Heresy's show logo was created by Decapitated Markers, at Decapitated Marker on Twitter, that's MRKR. Our theme song is The Hordes by Megan McDuffie, and our ads use the tracks No Control and Chiefs by Jazzar, JAHZZAR, provided by freemusicarchive.org. When it comes to Dum-Dums and Dice, you can visit our website at dumdumdice.com. Our Twitter and Instagram are at dumdumdice, and on Facebook at facebook.com/dumdumdice. We have merchandise available at redbubble.com/people/dumdumdice, and most importantly, you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/dumdumdice. That's DUMBDICE. Ave Imperator, and death to all the heretics.
Dum-Dums and Dice has to give a special thank you to the supreme beings of our Patreon at this time. The Half-Blind Prophet, Christopher Little, Sue One, George Dolby, Lord Abradovic, Orion Birchfield, Scott Garland, Benjamin V, Gavin and Abby McDonald, Cade Peters, Richard Cranium, Anna Zed, Logan, Fire Unfriendly, Acrix, Grandma Likes D&D, Alan, Austin Nut Powers Fry, Stabby Stranger, and Jill and Noel LaPlante. If you want your name to be added to this list, you can join our Patreon too at patreon.com/dumdumdice. Thanks to them, and a little bit of thanks to you.